So, Akshay, you have worked across sectors like telecom, pharma, healthcare, AI, and now sustainability. What
Right.
motivated you to start your own startup, Fitsol?
Uh, well, starting my own venture was always on the cards. In fact, me and my co-founder, who's my MBA batchmate also, Anand, we had
Okay.
been discussing this since our college days. And we always wanted to build something of our own. But one thing led to another. He got into supply chain, I got into product and tech side of things. And from there on, the discussions kept happening. But finally, when Anand decided to move on from his job from when he was working as global head for logistics and packaging at Motherson Group to start something in sustainability, it just clicked for us, right? So like we were already in the zone of starting, and then he said that let's go ahead and build something around this. He had experience. He knew how to build a business in this particular domain, where we are working, decarbonizing the manufacturing supply chain for that matter. I had experience in building for product and tech, so that is where the chemistry happened, and then it's all
You started.
shape.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So, how has your hiring lens evolved over this period?
Uh, so we have been very clear from the start, right? So whoever we have hired, right, we ensure a couple of things, right? So first and foremost is, of course, someone who displays the founder mindset. Because as founders, we would be sort of um, caught up with a lot of activities that not only work on vision but also in building the organization. Maybe I'm in a sales call. Being a CTO doesn't mean that I'll not be attending sales calls, right? I'll not be doing demos. I'll not be interacting with customers. I'll not be interacting with partners and so on, right? Same goes for Anand and other founders as well. So the idea was that hire people who have certain degree of a knack for ownership within themselves.
Right.
Whatever task you throw at them, they'll be able to pick it up and sort of take it to the fruition. So that was the idea, and that's what we look for. Then certain degree of accountability and responsibility has to be displayed, and a knack for innovation, right? And whatever you are doing, whether you are innovating day in day out, it could be anything. It's not necessarily your own job, right? It could be something that you are taking an initiative which would help us build either Fitsol as a business, Fitsol as a brand, Fitsol as a talent attraction magnet, whatever, right? So you have to innovate in certain aspect. You upskill yourself continuously to stay relevant, and while you are already fulfilling your tasks. Yeah. So
So,
these
so
are
you mentioned about ownership. I think if you know that you are the owner of a particular task, right?
right,
Then automatically the accountability, the upskilling, the innovations will automatically come because you as a owner then think, okay, I have to solve this problem. I have to attain my objective, right?
right,
That ownership mindset helps us get everything possible to get the task done, right?
right,
I
right.
completely agree. And we, in our interviews or any other thing that we look in a candidate, we first check whether he has the ability to take ownership or not. If that
Correct,
is there, everything will fall in place.
correct, correct. Absolutely, absolutely.
So when hiring for products or tech role, right, what do you look for in a fresher, right? Obviously, we discussed ownership. Other than ownership,
Right. So, product and tech, obviously, problem solving has to be, top notch. Ability to look at problem, deconstruct it towards atomic level, and then try to solve it from ground up is something that I really look forward to. Like in my interviews and all that I'll be doing with folks, I would definitely ask a puzzle or some sort of a complex problem that has to be solved by, and it has to be out of the box thinking, right? It cannot be something simple as I'm asking a mathematical equation or a hard problem to solve. I'll not give a calculus problem, but I'll ask something which would require you to think in systems. Probably you have to start thinking in terms of deconstructing a complex issue into smaller, and then it becomes solvable, right? Otherwise, it would look a very unsolvable, impossible problem to solve.
so when I go for interviews and especially for freshers, I first check the observation ability. Like, are they like able to observe the multiple information given and out of that, are they able to pick the right ones?
Right.
Right. What
Right.
about the experienced candidates? Is this
Yeah.
the same thing, or you check something different in them?
Yeah, so experienced candidates, it becomes tricky, right? Because now you are balancing, because so when we started, we hired a lot of freshers, of course, because budget is a constraint, right? You can't just go for a very experienced folk. Though now we have recently hired a head of engineering, but again, lateral hiring typically is coming from the network. Should have some sort of a reference from within my known networks, because lateral
Just
hiring would
is something that you
essentially,
will look for.
yeah, I would look for that. It has to have a checked out reference, like someone who can vouch for their, performance, past performance, and
Skills, performance, yeah.
yeah. So that is very important when I look for experienced folks. We have not hired, mid-level managers and all. We are doing away with that, because currently, with how things are evolving, and the current generation also is very adept at managing themselves. So giving them independence and opportunity to grow and learn at their own pace, right? While being demanding at the jobs. It's not that we don't set deadlines and we don't push them to work hard. That also happens, right? But again, the current generation has a keen way of working, so balancing that, and then having senior folks to guide them, right? So we started with a lot of technology advisors also, right? Because let's say I'm not available, right? So who should they look forward to? So my past colleagues and people who have already worked with and I trust them, uh, are part of the advisory board and all, and they were also hand holding and helping
You
these
work as
folks.
a mentor for the people who just started with you in your organization, right?
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. So you have worked with cutting edge tools, technologies like eSIM, blockchain, AI, right? So what
Right.
hiring requirements or skill requirement has changed over the last 5 years?
Yeah, well, last 5 years is again seems like 50 years now, given how technology is changing every day, right? In itself, how vibe coding has come into play, right? Even prototyping. So cutting across, right? So if you see within the product and tech function, you will have analysts, you will have product managers, you will have product designers, you will have engineers, right? All these four folks, right, earlier used to be, specializing in certain aspects, right? But those days are gone, right? You cannot be specialist in Tableau, you cannot be specialist in front end, you cannot be a specialist in Figma, right? Now everybody has to do prototyping. So even my PMs and all, whenever we are discussing, roadmap and all, they have to come up with the working prototype of whatever they want engineers and designers to design and so on, right? Even designers are using, product designers would be using, existing tools and all, AI tools to fast track their own tracks. So these are certain things which have, really enabled the teams to become high performing, and also to ensure that we stay lean, right? The biggest problem with the tech startup happens with, the biggest expense is salaries, right? At the end
Right.
of the day, right?
But right
So
now, I think that has salary is no longer an issue because with the development of AI, agentic AI
yes,
tools, right? Uh,
exactly.
you mentioned about vibe coding, right? The salaries, I think, in market has come down. In
Yeah,
fact, I got one list, right, from our reference network where there were a lot of senior people resumes, the current salary package they are drawing or whatever they were drawing last were very high, and they like shared this list and with a note saying that if you can hire any of them, they are like 50%, right, and they are ready to work at 50%
right,
also. So I think
right.
the salary problem was there, yes, before the invent of generative AI. Thanks to generative
Yeah,
AI, the salary of tech has reduced a lot, and now people have realized, okay, they have to lower it, and they have to again rethink on upskilling them, right, and knowing the newer age tools. I think
correct.
that problem is solved. So are you also finding that it's solved, or still you are finding that in your domain, still the salaries of tech is a lot of issue? or not, no, let's not call it issue. It's still
So I tell you
helping
what.
us.
So basically, if you see salaries, typically it's not a motivation, but it's a hygiene, right? We would not want our people to keep thinking about surviving, right? We will ensure that they have enough and they are satisfied in terms of salaries and all, so that they can focus on work unilaterally. So for example, if you see super intelligence, right, giving $100 million packages, right? So
Right.
it's not that it's not about salaries and salaries are coming down, but you need to pay right amount to right person so that they can completely focus on the job. So that is the idea. Second, what is happening with these AI tools and all is, again, they're not replacing people, but they are making everyone more productive, right? So all the engineers in my so all the team members, right? So I have around 15-member team right now.
Right.
All of them have a mandate to use AI in their day-to-day life as an assistant, and whatever they are building, they should use AI to build it fast. Second is that they have monthly quotas. Everybody gets access to whatever tool. So it's not that we have mandated you have to use this tool only. They can choose to use any tool that they want, and they can get reimbursed on a monthly basis. So those
Great.
kind of things we are enabling.
Hmm.
Yeah. So to
Enabling the
ensure,
team, right?
right?
But the number of people required then has reduced, right? The time
Yeah, yeah,
to ship a product that has reduced. So now you're
absolutely.
working with 15 people team. If this, say AI tools support staff, right? It
Right,
works support to us, right?
right,
Intelligence support to us. If that is not there, then you have to hire senior people as well to guide
absolutely.
the juniors, right? Or the people who have just started. And your team will be then not of 15, right? It will be like somewhere 30, at least double.
Yes, correct,
Right.
correct, correct.
That
So
will be
that is
a
where
great
it has made everyone productive. So we can run with lean teams also now. We
lean
don't
team as
need so many people to sort of
well.
do the same task. Correct.
Okay, so as we talked about Gen AI, automation, and now ESG also evolving rapidly, what tech skills or tool early career professionals should be familiar with?
Right. So I think tools and all, I would say it could be, as I said, everybody has to be a builder now, right? You cannot be a front end or a back end or an ML guy, right? You have to now full stack means everything, right?
Everything.
The idea is that from a skill, you need to develop end-to-end applications, right? From envisioning the requirements to designing it for experience to deploying it, right? So it's not that something that you will just come say, I want to be an engineer. No, you have to build. You have to be a builder, build end-to-end stuff, experience what fails, do prototyping, do A/B testing at your own and as well, run those prototypes within your friends and families, your own network, see what kind of feedback you're getting, and then iterate, right? You don't need to sort of focus on a particular a tech stack, like I want to learn Node or I want to learn React, I want to learn Mun stack or anything for that matter per se, right? So it's not about language anymore. English is the emerging coding language, and it will continue to do so, right? So I would say, and this there is a change, right? I see at a lot of IT services company, people working there, engineering professionals and all, are still not using AI to build, right? They're still doing the conventional coding. But when I look at the product companies like Fang and all, people have started building, be it Google, Microsoft and all. People are just, everybody is just building end-to-end solution, be it they are product designers or product managers or engineers and so on, right? So I think that the core skill set now is to have that kind of knack of building things from end to end. You should be able to think. You should be able to think of a problem that you want to solve. You should be able to deconstruct it, build a roadmap around it, develop the MVP prototype, get it tested. So these kind of projects should be on your CV going forward. Plain front end, back end is not going to work
Work.
anymore. Yeah.
So you mentioned about service companies like TCS,
Yeah.
Infosys, right? So a lot of layoffs are happening, right?
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think it is because they want to say get more people who know AI and how to use AI rather than working with the old team who are like domain specific Mun stack or some other tools or technologies that know, right? So what do you think? Is the same reason, or there is some other reason of laying off? Because they are also like, they know that they need to use AI, right? And
Right.
current team don't have that capabilities, or to build that capabilities may need time, right? If
Right.
internally they get training for them. So what they are trying to do is trying to replace, right, their workforce, the existing workforce, with new age workforce who know things exactly and have worked on this, the AI products. So what is your view on this layoffs, right? Because they are slowly changing.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So look, it is tricky, right? If you see overall, but for the service companies, right, their customers' budgets are down now, right? So they are also waiting and watching on how this AI is going to change things and what is going to work and what is not going to. So large-scale product deployments or project deployments have now, been replaced by these AI use case POCs and all, right? So what has happened because of that? The budget has shrunk. Now this budget, if you see TCS, let's take their example only. For last couple of quarters, their revenue has been declining by a significant percentage point, right? So it's not that their top line is growing and then they are laying off for productivity and so on gains, right? It looks like this is my hypothesis and my opinion personally, that it is more like a cost cutting exercise, and they are also trying to become as nimble as possible. Earlier, bench strength was
Friends
actually
was
a strength, right? So I also worked with Infosys when I
okay.
passed out of engineering, right? The bench, I saw so many people on bench. I'm like, why are they not working? Why everyone is preparing for CAT or GMAT or GATE and so on, right? And the idea was that this is also to show customers that we have people ready to be deployed to project and so on, right? But today that is not the case. Every
Uh-huh.
company is trying to be agile and as nimble as possible, right? So I think these layoffs are not a function of AI coming in. This is purely a function of companies becoming more focused on what they want to achieve. They are also becoming very categorical in terms of where they want to invest for future readiness and so on. And hence, it is impacting these services companies. Not all are getting impacted, but yes,
One service companies completely focusing on AI is doing good.
uh, look, there are many. I think Tredence is one of them. They have focused on ML use cases for a very long time. It's not that they've just started; they've been doing it for a very long time. They're doing pretty well. A very well established organization. Um, Rest services company, not really sure. It's been a long time that I have sort of networked with those
You
folks.
are into product now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so yeah, not
So,
really, but yeah.
okay. So, how do you evaluate soft skills like communication, ownership? We discussed curiosity. So, how you evaluate that somebody is able to take that ownership or not while interviews? Right, you meet people in interviews. How you evaluate them?
Right. So one of the where I'm doubtful, right? So some certain things are very upfront, right? That when you're talking to someone, you understand certain aspects of their personality, but sometimes it is ambiguous, right? Uh, so two things emerge, right? If it is ambiguous and they have shown a significant amount of intelligence and problem-solving skills and ownership during the discussion, then I tend to give them an assignment, a very difficult
Okay.
assignment, but a very short timeline, right? The idea is that not to gauge them whether they'll be able to successfully deliver it or not, but whether they say no to it or not, right? So, for example, I might ask an engineer to probably do a prototyping and come next day to show me, right? Within a day, you have to submit it. Or let's say, if it is an AI, I will ask them to, sort of build a RAG or something like that within a day and deploy it and show it to me that whether you've deployed it properly or not, right? Some would say, no, this is not possible in a day. It will take time. I need 2 days. I need 3 days, right? The idea is not to deliver it within that time. The idea is to accept the challenge, go back to the drawing board, figure it out, and then come up with a plan. Okay, this cannot be done, but yes, I think 30%, 80% could have been done, and I have done that. this is my submission. It will not be able, nobody will be able to do it better than what I have done till now, right? So those kind of things, when they categorically come out, then it becomes disambiguous, right? Then you can hire. But yes, if there is a little ambiguity staying after this, they are reject. We don't go ahead with their candidature.
So you try to understand if they are putting the right efforts or not, right?
Yeah. Correct. So they're able to think in system. They're able to sort of deconstruct and then probably come up with the rational, right? Upfront saying that, oh, it cannot happen, right? That is a defeatist approach, right?
And then come up with what could be done or what could not be, right?
Correct.
Okay. Correct. So what are the common red flags you see in the interview that raise concern?
So one of this is saying no, right, to request, or
upfront saying no.
Yeah, upfront saying no. That is a red flag. Rest is, I don't think communication is a challenge anymore. Until unless it's a customer-facing job, right? Vernacular doesn't really matter. We have people from all the parts of India. Not everybody is great at communicating, but yes, it doesn't really matter until as long as you are able to articulate yourself in one language, right? That should be enough, right? One of the red flags, other than upfront saying no, is not displaying any such leadership or upskilling knack in the past, right? So someone who is not invested in themselves in past would not invest in themselves in future as well, right? Because then it's like a burden, right? So upskilling is something that you should naturally feel, right? It's part of evolution. I should keep upskilling myself, keep reading new things, keep experimenting with new things. If there is a tool, so even I have automated, right? So I use N8N and all to automate that whatever top 5 research articles in AI and all would be published on Arxiv every week should be pushed to my inbox. So I just
also done this at Amquest.
Yeah, 1.5 hour of job, right? So it's like something not very complex to achieve, right? So if people have been doing that, it's good. If not, then it's a definite red flag.
So you check these things from new projects, new tool they have explored. What all you check?
Yeah. So basically, I will ask them, right? So if someone has written a project on their resume and all, I will try to go deep into it, right? Whether they have just written it or they understand what they have mentioned it, and then how would they have done it. I also ask these kind of questions, whether, so right now, actually you did this 6 months back, right? Given the current context, 6 months, you've grown in last 6 months, how differently would you have tackled this problem, right? So those kind of, if there is a change, they definitely, if there is a new dimension that they could add, they would have experimented with something else that they would have given them that understanding to experiment, right? So yeah.
So how important is domain expertise compared to adaptability and fast learning?
This is a very good question. Look, it's very contextual, I would say, right? Certain places, domain expertise is paramount. Certain aspects, it's not much. So for example, if team is writing a notification service, right? It doesn't really matter what is the context behind it, right? Certain things are very mature in the, already mature in the tech world, so you don't need to focus on. But yes, so for example, in our domain, we have partnered with a company called Climatic. They are the emission factors aggregator, one of the best in the world. The idea was that we start using their emission factors very intelligently within our platform, right? It should not be something that, it's an API call and then we fetch it and then we go about it, right? So we wanted it to be intelligent. We wanted to make sure that user is not thinking about or selecting the right emission factor, but system is intelligently doing it, be it semantic search, be it, similarity search and so on, right? Whatever, right? In different terms, the idea was that this particular tool that we have onboarded or the database that we have procured should be intelligently integrated with the platform. Now here is where some sort of domain understanding should be there, right? But otherwise, I don't think let's say a report generation or a PDF generation, maybe you would not need. But yes, I have seen this, observed this very frequently, is that people who have spent more time, right? They start thinking about the hygiene aspect. So, for example, let's say there are some sustainability related metrics, right, that are going in the report or on the dashboard and all, right? If they have context or they have been working on the similar problem for past couple of months, they will ask the right questions, whether this has to be shown in a line chart or maybe this has to be, sort of a tree graph and so on, right? How do you handle these particular metrics, right? So maybe they will challenge the designers also, right? That
Yeah.
this might not be a good, because for let's say a longitudinal, for let's say 6 months, this might be fine. But when we are looking at a data time series data for let's say 5 years, this might not look okay. So then how do you want to go about it, right? So I think with context and domain expertise, I think a little bit of hygiene and questioning capability comes. And that is what will differentiate a good engineer from a great engineer, right? But yeah, very minor, but yes, it can mean a lot when we are building things. And if you are able to build things right from the start itself, then it goes a long way, right? So yeah.
And this ability, I think, can be shown by both freshers and experienced people, right?
Absolutely.
It's just basic understanding. If you can visualize what you are doing and how it will be served, you will have those answers.
Absolutely. Okay. So earlier, I would also say, so for example, whenever we would go to customer demos, you will not have enough time to do customer research also, right? So yeah, so now it has become so easy. You just run a deep research while you are on the way. When you reach there, 5-10 minutes, you just read it. You are ready to talk to the customer around that particular area. So I think it's become very easy to access information and gain the domain expertise. But yes, it takes time for you to understand how to use it within your own work.
Yeah. So what trend you see in hiring, right, will evolve in next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years seems, again, it's a very long time horizon.
Because current thing we know, right, how things are changing.
Yeah, it's very difficult, right? So every year, every 6 months, if you see, things are changing drastically. But I think more and more focus would be on people, as I said earlier, also that end-to-end building capability, right? So you should have that understanding and ability and a knack for upskilling yourself very frequently, so that you are able to, sort of build the problems rather than just, being a part of it, right? If like you should be a one-man army sort of a thing who can at least deconstruct and ask right questions, right? Whenever things are asked to you to build. So I think next 3 to 5 years is for builders. A lot of people will pick up this skill. As I said, English will emerge to be the most prominent coding language going forward. No doubt about it. But yeah, again, use it as a tool, not something that you will use as a crutch. If you don't know coding, don't just use cursor or windsurf, right? It's like you have to understand the coding. You should know how to, sort of, because these tools are still developing, right? As the context window increases, they start to hallucinate. They might just go and delete your entire repository if you ask them to revert. It's very, still.
If you don't understand, you will not be able to rectify things.
Correct. So you need to understand the coding. You need to understand where to look for issues. You should be able to understand how to run smoke tests, how to run, if something is getting into iterative, how to break that loop, deconstruct, ask it to stop, go into the code base. You also look yourself, because there's a difference between writing effective code and efficient code, right? So effective code is just, I want to transform A to B, so my code is doing that. But the latency would be so high, or when scalability might not be there, right? When 1,000 people are accessing it, it's just failing, right? So efficient coding is something that a coder will understand. As a product manager, people might not be able to understand, or as a product designer. But yes, you will still be able to build things, right? And then once you have built it, cascading it or getting everybody on board, convincing people becomes an easier task.
Okay. So I think whatever you said is look like that people should now look at their work portfolios, assessment, simulation, then just depending on traditional resume.
True.
They should have their portfolios ready.
True.
The work that they have done so that they can demonstrate it, right?
Correct. Correct.
So I think this session will help our viewers to understand the importance and the current hiring trends, right? Akshay, you have pointed few of the things very correctly that if you want to get into job market, right, you have to first be an owner. And if you take ownership, automatically responsibility and other additional things will come up, and you should have your portfolios ready so that you
Correct.
demonstrate your work. Thank you,
Correct.
Akshay, for coming to our podcast and helping our audience to understand the current hiring trends. Thank
So
you once again.
thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.